Welcome to the Theory of DFS podcast. I'm Jordan Cooper, the co-author of the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports, 15-hour audio DFS masterclass you can pick up at theoryofdfs.com. Join with me as sometimes. Neil Orfield of Stochastic, the high stakes podcast, and other content, everything. Everything.
Yep.
You do show. I saw the thumbnail. I haven't watched it. It's just like, fuck it, we'll do it live. Is that what
that was
called?
an underdog show, I believe, with Eric Lindquist. Yeah, that's just an underdog. We do some prop betting, and we do some we do one of the daily drafts or a couple of daily drafts on those shows.
And you do it
I do
live
everything
on the show.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do live drafts, and we are getting people in our we can see people in our chat talking about it who are in the drafts with us. So that's always the struggle when you're doing these drafts. Like people, Eric Beinfort does the best ball drafts all the time, and I always feel kind of bad for the people who are doing live drafts on like YouTube because they always have people like 5 of the people are in the draft with them, hearing everything they're saying about who they want to get, and I think you're a lot more likely to get sniped.
Right, but you also do the pick'em stuff.
Yep, we also did some. We do some pick'em there as well.
So do you just show it's like, oh, here's our projections and here's where it's off and these look good?
Pretty much. I mean, that my approach is very much a reverse engineering approach. So like now that I'm doing a lot of that type of content, no house advantage. I did a prize pick show on Monday. We do these. It's very much looking at our projections. This one has a 58% win odds. Why is that? And then I reverse engineer why we have the over hitting or the under hitting 58% of the time. It's makes it a lot easier when you've got the projections there.
Are you going to put volume down on stuff like that yourself?
I have been increasing my volume there just because I'm doing content for it. I don't think I'm going to put significant volume behind it unless I really do find a lot of success at it. I know a lot of people, a lot of my coworkers have found a lot of success at it. I know my cousin actually has been messaging me with big wins. So maybe that is something I should be doing, but so far I'm still I've decreased my volume in DFS so much that I'm not really looking to jump into really parlays at this point.
Okay, because I'm most of mine are switching over to that. Like I need to set my reminder on my phone for like 1 a.m. Like before I go to sleep. Yeah. I mean, do I need to really set an alarm? It's pretty much before I go to sleep, go check the prize picks board, and then when I wake up in the morning before I do my show, check the underdog board, and then just slam whatever I need to slam, and then I'm good. And then I'm good until DFS lock. Because
so how do you do that as somebody? So do you do your own projections for these things then? Because like for me, okay. So are you just looking at other books and comparing lines, or what do you do?
I just use the bat. I just thought, okay, let me take a look at the bat. Let me take a look at the line. Is it over like the 57.5% win percentage? Good. And if I could find a couple, I'll round robin 2-pick, them together for whatever, amount that it should be. The bigger the discrepancy, the more money I put down. And then I'm done. And then
admittedly, I have not had time to listen to your show from last week yet. I'm definitely going to at some point, your show with Cardi, but I did not realize that the bat does prop betting lines.
Well, I mean, you look at the over under, and you look at what the mean on the.
But where do you get the 57% likelihood stuff?
Oh, it's just the discrepancy between the numbers. I mean, like every stat has its own distribution. So like if the prize picks line is 5.5 and the bat has it at 5.85, it's like that isn't enough to overcome the vig, the hold that they have on the market. You need like minus 137s on these types of things. So it's like, but if the over was 5.5 and if the line was 5.5 and the bat has the pitcher at like 4.3. It's like, okay, that's an under. That's a good under one, right? You have to look for the bigger discrepancies depending on the stat. You're looking at pitcher outs, right? You could look there. It's like sometimes they have it's 15.5 and the bat has it at like 18, right? To go for 6 innings. And so I was like, okay, there's an over, right? And you just go through, pretty much just go through all that. The batting ones need a lot more because the distributions aren't normal. So you can't just, it's like total bases. Like you can't just go by, oh, this is a half a total base and the bat has it at like 0.85. It's like that's not enough. And I mean, it's really the chance of getting a hit or something. That's right. The distribution doesn't work that way. You could throw these through like a Poisson distribution to get the more exact ones. But when it comes to Prize Picks and Underdog, you need big discrepancies as it is that you'd be able to see it.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not like normal sports betting where the line's it's over 5.5 at -110. Is 5.9 good enough to bet there? Are you going to get some that could be on the edge, but for Prize Picks it would be no. It would just simply be that's definitely not a -137. So you just pass on those. And typically I could find at 1 a.m. probably somewhere between 4 and 6 that are off enough for me to put money down on it. And then the underdog ones come up in the morning, and a lot of times I could find 3 or 4 there. And there you go. You put $50 to $100 down, $25, whatever, And it's not just like if I could find 6 of them, I mean, I'm putting down A plus B, A plus C, A plus D, A plus. So it's
you're just doing 2 cards with
picks.
just 2 picks on them. Okay.
Right.
Multiple.
Because I want to reduce the variance as much as possible. So it's that the 5-pick flexes are technically the higher EV ones because you get that 0.4x getting 3 right. But I'm giving that up to reduce my variance. Where if I round robin 6 and get 4 of them right, I profit. I make money.
Right.
I make small profit. If I get 5 out of 6, I make a good profit. If I make 6 out of 6, well, you would have gotten 6 out of 6 on a 6-pick. I'm gonna get that anyway because I've won literally all of my 2 picks.
Right.
Right. So I'm gonna triple my money. I mean, because it's all 3x. Right. Yep. It's 2 payouts. So it's I'm tripling it as it is, and it's quite rare that if I have 8 or 9 or something between Prize Picks and Underdog, or 10 or 11 that 0 out of 11. It's it really doesn't. A lot of times it's somewhere between 4 and 8 or something that come in. So it's I lose a little, I win a little, and then you build that up over time. And as long as you're getting the good numbers, and then I track them typically before I build my DFS lineups, at 6-ish or so Eastern. I'll just go back to Prize Picks and Underdog and see where the line is, and if the line moved in my favor, I chalked it up as a CLV type of win. It's my goal is to have all my lines move. If I do over 5.5 strikeouts and it's at 6 o'clock, it's okay, I got a half strikeout worth of value. I don't want to see it going in the other direction, but I mean, if the bat still has it at a certain thing and it's going in the other direction, maybe I end up hitting it again. I go, I'm going to trust the bat over the where the money's going, but pretty much a lot of the times they move in my favor. In NFL, they almost always move in my favor.
Nice.
So, I mean,
what time do you say it happens at night? Prize Picks. What time did it drop?
Typically, the board goes up around 1 in the morning, somewhere around
Eastern.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, Eastern, something like that. And you want to hit it early because you may even get value in the morning. You may find that some line is off enough that they have some strikeout prop at 4.5, and the bat has it at 6.2, right? And then by the time you wake up in the morning, it's 5 instead of 4.5, right?
Right.
But there's a difference there. So maybe it's at 5.5. If it's at 5.5, you have no value anymore, right? So you got to get it before they move. Underdog typically doesn't put those lines up until the morning. They'll have some pitch count props. They'll have some. But they don't typically put up the Ks and the pitcher outs and hits allowed and those types of things. Typically until the sports books put up their lines.
Sounds like you're excited about baseball season. That's just all these props you're talking about. These are all MLB props.
Yeah, well, I'm excited because I haven't been playing NBA DFS. So it's soccer's once, maybe twice a week. MMA is once a week. So I'm sitting here going, yeah, playing a lot of poker. But when does DFS come back? When does baseball come back? And baseball's back. Baseball's back.
Sure is.
We're going to be sick of it in 2 months.
I'm on every damn show, 6 days a week.
Oh, so you're doing a ton of shows?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a strategy show. So starting tomorrow, I'll be on with Alex. Alex is my co-host. And then on Saturday, I'll be there with Terry, or Friday, I'll be with Terry McBride. And then after that, I'm doing solo strategy shows every morning at 11 Central Time.
Okay, so solo for an hour?
I think so. Yeah, it's kind of up to me how long it goes, but I think the goal is about an hour per show.
Are you intimidated by doing it by yourself?
I think it's actually easier for me. Like at this point, I've done enough content that I'm fairly comfortable doing content, and I think in some ways doing it solo. I've never done a solo live show, so it is a new thing a new thing for me. But I think it'll be kind of fun to just be able to like show people exactly the tools that I'm using. Just like here's how I'm thinking about the top stacks tool. Here's how I'm going to put the stacks into my optimizer after looking at the top stacks tool. That kind of thing is going to be relatively easy. The only downside is MLB content. When I'm doing MLB content, that is dry content. Like I don't go into like batters and like I don't look really closely at, and that's what people want a lot of the time. So for a lot of people, it's going to be a little bit boring. But I'm like, I'm just going to show you what I actually use.
Well, you're doing a show similar to my show, right?
Do you do a solo show?
Yeah, I mean, every Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern. I mean, but I'm also doing more not slate related stuff. We may talk about a slate or something to go over concepts. I mean, essentially, it's it's the theory of daily fantasy sports, like just in an unstructured way, answering questions, how to use the tools, obviously at Roto Grinders, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a solo show. I'm used to me, solo shows are easier because I talk so much as it is.
Right.
But I don't have to worry about someone else.
Mondays with McCool, that kind of thing. I feel like
James is on Mondays, so that's
okay.
the only
is
time.
That the only day of the week that you have a guest?
No,
I catch some of your shows.
Yeah, every once in a while, like Nerdy Tenor will come on every so often if I have like a subject. Or
I jumped on. I watched that one. Yeah,
right.
Always watch when Nerdy Tenor is on.
Right, but when James is on, it's just like okay, instead of talking 100% of the time, I talk 94% of the time.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's I thought James does a better job than I do. I think of like interjecting himself, but yeah, you're a powerful voice.
But the solo show, it's the chat and you, and then you just go through stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, for baseball, like when you say it's dry content, I mean my content for baseball is even drier than yours, than what yours is going to be.
You think so?
Yeah, definitely. Only because my whole thing, and I think that like the most important episode of this podcast or of the DFS pregame show in the past, I mean probably ever, but in the past couple of months, is the where does the money come from episode. It's like where does the actual money, where does the equity come from, the money that you could win? And it comes from bad lineups. It comes from bad players. So the more bad players and more bad lineups, the more money there is available that you're fighting over to win. So like out of all the sports, like the event-driven based sports, median projections aren't as relevant as they would be on normally distributed like NBA type of stuff. Like giving up 20 points of projection in NBA is a lot. I mean, it's just that's to make that up. You have to make it up through little things here and there, here and there, here and there.
Are there any other sports like NBA like that?
Not really.
Yeah, I can't really think of any quite to the same extent, at least.
Maybe
golf is but there's. Yeah, I think it's just NBA really.
But still, like in there are more available plus EV lineups in baseball than there are like almost any other sport because of the correlative nature, because, strong correlations between batters on the same team.
Yeah.
That like essentially, I mean, the concept that we talk about in the course and I talk about all the time is that when plus EV lineups for GPPs, macro wise, like the bad lineups are ones that are either too high owned or too low projected. So your goal as a macro is to build the highest projected lineups you can for the lowest ownership as possible. So there's going to be like this band of lineups that like project well enough and are low owned enough that are all playable, that are all profitable. Some may be more profitable than others, but they all should be, for the most part, profitable to some extent. Yeah. And these high-owned lineups, cash-type lineups, I'm going to play the two chalkiest pitchers with the chalkiest stack and the chalkiest one-off. Like, that's seeding, a lot of first-place equity. And then you got lineups that project for 50 points lower in baseball, with two garbage pitchers and, over-projected stack or something. Like, those lineups are seeding, like, a lot of the... They actually win first more than the other ones, but they see, all of the stuff in the middle. That, as long as you build lineups in between those enough, and there are those lineups that, you need 15, 20%. You need more than the rake of those bad, quote-unquote, bad lineups, those negative EV lineups. that like any lineup that's in that range should be profitable. We're going to be playing like 14-game MLB slates where like that's why I said like your content is dry. It's like my content is drier. My content is like, okay, let's identify the lineups we don't play.
Right.
And then out of the lineups that we don't play, how many combinations that include some type of stack can we make on this slate? Oh, I think the number is like 34 million. And we could get rid of like 1 million of these lineups, right? We could get rid of the million. We could get rid of lineups that are like not stacked or anything like that. Out of the 34 million, we could get rid of like, I don't know, 30 million of them, right? Because a lot of combinations that don't have stacks, 5-man stacks or anything like that. Okay, now we're down to 4 million lineups that you could make with a 5-man stack and 3 one-offs and 2 pitchers. And then out of those, we have, maybe a couple of thousand that are too high owned. And we maybe have like half of those lineups that are too low projected, right? So like 2 million are too low projected. So now we're down to 2 million. And then we don't want to play the first couple of thousand. And then the rest in between are probably most likely profitable. So there you go. So like you're gonna play. So dude in the chat on the YouTube, it's like, well, what lineups do I play? It's like, well, you're gonna play one of these like 1.8 million lineups, like,
right,
like, and that would be profitable. So it's like you show me a lineup that's like this guy, that guy, this stack. It's like, is it too high owned? No. Is it too low projected? No. Does it have a stack in it? Yes. Okay, play it. Right?
Yep.
Obviously, the ownership in different contests will be different. What high owned is going to be different in context of what you're playing. A single entry small field versus a large field contest. But obviously,
so the
small field, you
don't
want to sacrifice as much projection, but you also get all the condensed ownership.
You really mean that it's going to be plus EV, those lineups, not
right?
Profitable.
Plus EV, profitable long term. Right, profitable plus
long-term.
EV, same profitable in the long run. They
Yeah.
will be profitable lineups.
I say this because I was just reading the sports projection thread. Came out yesterday. Did you read that thread?
Yeah, I read about the variance in MLB DFS.
Yeah, which I knew because I had back-to-back seasons where I had an incredible season in 2021 MLB and then an absolutely atrocious season in 2022. And basically, I think it came out I had like a few $1,000s for those 2 seasons combined, but it was like literally all profit one season, and the next season. Last year, I just completely was losing my hat day after day. So it's kind of a little bit promising to me to think, okay, maybe I wasn't playing as terribly as I think I was playing. Maybe I was just didn't have variance on my side last year. But still, regardless, I thought it was interesting to see the distributions of outcomes for players who are even playing lineups that are expected to be in the top 1%.
Right. I mean, the variance in MLB is ridiculous. And that's why,
Yeah.
like weighing things over 1 point in projection almost seem like what are you spending that much time on? I mean, like, it's just
right.
Like that it's almost a wash over time that the main thing in GPPs for one lineup is to build a lineup that isn't too high owned and isn't too low projected. I mean, like, and how low a projection you could have in MLB with the correlative nature of a 5-man stack is like, dude, one swing of the bat is 14 points. I mean, like a solo shot right. You could make up 14 points in one event. You can't do that in NBA. Can't do that in golf, right? You can't even do that. You can't do that in a lot of things. So like, how many pitchers are in play? Dude, don't think of MLB DFS in terms of who do you play. I think that the MLB DFS to me is what combinations of players should you avoid because of combinatorial ownership.
Right.
And then what players do you not play just simply because they project way too low for their price? Like just way, especially a pitcher, which are more normally distributed outcomes. So like that point, it's like, so your show of like, oh, here's the strategy show for MLB. Like if I was doing your show and it's like, oh, let's take a look at today's slate. And I'm like, okay, we got like, you can build like 800,000 good lineups. Like, so feel free to play, and we could go
play whichever you want.
Right. Yeah. We could go through who. I think this stack is overowned for its outcome. I think this stack is underowned, right? But you can play an overowned stack if you're playing underowned pitchers, right? If you're playing an underowned 3-man with it, or if you're playing underowned one-offs, That's fine if they're high. They're a high raw point projected stack, but they're overowned. But I mean, the same thing happens in NBA. So it's not a matter of like, oh, the Braves are going to be overowned. Don't play them at all. It's
Right.
like, well, you can build plus EV lineups with them. It's just that they're not with the two chalk pitchers, right? You're going to sacrifice projection there for the sake of getting different, and then you can do vice versa. And you can say, well, this pitcher's overowned, he is, but it's also the highest raw point pitcher, so you could play and just don't play the Brave stack with him. I mean, like so what strategic advice am I giving other than every day saying, let's take a look at what the chalk is and don't play it together? Right. End of show. Hit the like button.
Right. That's good. That's a good point. Yeah, it's a tough show to. I mean, I'm probably going to go game by game for my show, which I guess. I mean, you say it's less dry than what you do, but I'm not sure that it is going game by game, looking at the top stacks tool, looking at, I guess, which players project well for each team.
Well, that's good for free content. I mean, if people don't subscribe to Stochastic, like I always for the free stuff, I am a little bit more tolerant of people because it's a marketing tool, or it's like sign up for Stochastic, sign up for Roto Grinders. Right. But to me, the benefit is that, do you want to do this yourself with the numbers that we have here? Just pay for the numbers, and then there you go. You don't need the show anymore. But if you're watching it for nothing, like dude, people may not know who the top projected pitcher is. It's like, well,
that's true.
Our projections say X. It's like, oh, thank you. Okay, if that you're not going to get the nitty gritty of all the projections and all the ownership and all the everything to do it yourself at 6:30 or whatever, half an hour before the slate or something. But it's like, if you just want to just wake up, and if you're a casual player, just go, what stack projects the best? What pitchers project the best? I think this pitcher's overowned. I think this stack is underowned and whatever. And then decide from there. Like, you're not going to be that far off doing that. Really, even especially in small field GPPs, where most likely you're going to be playing more of the better plays. And I'm using plays more of the better stacks and the better pitchers anyway. Right? If you're playing the 121 single entry, 450 person contest on DraftKings, you're probably not playing lineups that are like 25 points lower projected than others. You're probably playing at least one of the two chalkiest pitchers because they project the best. And you're probably playing one of the top 5 stacks in raw projection one of them. I mean, you're probably not going completely off the board. So tuning into a show like that, just gives you the sense of this is the type of thing. But in large field, you could go, large field, you could get much more creative.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a work in progress because it's also, I'm going to be self-producing this show. So I can kind of do whatever I want. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go game by game, but I don't know if I'm actually going to give you a
producer. Why is that? They're cutting costs.
Well, we just had one of our major employees just leave, who was kind of, he was a producer / did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, just left. So we're a little bit shorthanded and just saving costs.
Is the site dying? Anytime anyone leaves, it's like, is the site dead?
No, he got a great in-person producing job locally. So he decided to
Who wants to do anything in person anymore?
I know. I thought he was great. Also, he has to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. So I think he's a nut for taking the job. But no, he's a great employee that we lost. But no, it's just a matter of cutting some costs. Also, our MLB content, relative to NBA, gets a fifth of the viewers. So it's just we focus on where we get more viewers. So that's where we're using producers and stuff.
That's why they have you on, because you have to increase the viewership.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the guy to do that for sure. No, I'm the guy who is willing to do it because I'm the new guy. Nobody wants to do baseball content. Everybody's like, no, I just want to do NBA. Don't put me on baseball content. But as a new guy, I got put on the solo
Why
show.
don't people want to do MLB content?
I think just because it is kind of dry. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that was when I talked about what I like to do. I said, yeah, I think I prefer doing NBA content just because for me it's just. I think I have more interesting opinions about NBA, different player, different spots. Baseball, it's hard for me to really identify anything where I'm differing from the top stacks tool, that kind of thing. So it's very dry content when I do it. So I'm I don't really want to do the content where I know I'm going to be the driest. But from what I was told, it sounded like nobody was really excited about everybody was more excited about doing NBA than MLB, I should say. I have, like, Adam has been referencing on shows how excited he is for MLB to be coming. I think a lot of people are excited to play MLB, but maybe not necessarily do the content.
MLB, you kind of get the best of both worlds. It's such a variant. It's like there's so much variance that it's like, yeah, you could play a bunch of like 17 of these teams and 10 of these pitchers, and yeah, I think that's all pretty good. And then whatever you hit on, right, the next day you could beat you beat half the time you're right and half the time you're wrong, and no one cares, right? I mean, like it's like NBA, you get burned so often. I mean, like just like, this guy. Oh, I think this guy's gonna, based on this rotation, is gonna play 38 minutes, and then he DNPs for no reason. I mean, like just out of the blue, just that, right? Something happened. Whatever you say at the time that you're doing the show at like noon Central or whatever, right? That it's like, okay, it's NBA DFS. I can say whatever I want because 6 hours from now, none of this matters anymore.
Not gonna matter. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. That's
to me, I wouldn't want to do that content because it feels like you're doing it for no reason.
I think that we're all on the same page that we don't want to do early NBA content. I think in general, people enjoy doing like NBA deeper dive live before lock more than MLB.
So so you're not doing the show like before lock, so you'll be able to just build your lineups in peace.
Yeah. So for the time being, while NBA is still going on, the strategy show is all we're going to have for MLB, and then once NBA, gets a little bit quieter, maybe that's when we'll start doing live before lock, deeper dive, that kind of stuff.
And you're just going to be 150 in both sites?
I'm not going to be. I've cut back my volume pretty hugely, and I think I'm going to keep doing that for MLB. I'm probably going to be doing 30, 40 lineups a day.
Okay, but both large field.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so something more akin to how I play large field.
Yeah,
when I play large field.
I've been thinking about doing some more single entry, 3-man, that kind of stuff. Not 3-mans. I mean, three max. Yeah, that kind of stuff. But I'm not sure. I'll see what the contests look like.
My suggestion is that if you play, like if you're playing large field and you're playing like 20 to 40 lineups, like something like that, which is up my alley because that's how I played large field for the longest of times. Very, very rarely playing 150. If overlay, yeah, that's when I play 150.
Yeah.
Is that I think because you're playing less volume, you should be playing more exploitative.
Agreed. That's exactly how I've been playing in NBA. Way more exploitative when I do. Like I can in NBA, often I'll be like over 50% on a player who's like 10% owned in NBA. I just take way more stands when I think I see a good play in NBA.
Right.
I'll probably do
same for the fades. It's like if you see there's so many times in baseball, if I'm playing 40 lineups in the large field and like Coors is chalk on like a 12-game slate, like I have no problem unless there's obviously I can build plus EV lineups with Coors, but a lot of times it's just like I think Coors is way overowned. I just exit out and just build.
Yeah.
And I literally have zero. And if something happens in Coors and it's a 14 to 12 game, I just lose. But I'm not losing 150 lineups worth of entries. I'm losing 40 entries.
Exactly.
I'm much more inclined to not care as much about diversification because it's like, oh, I have $600 in action versus having $2,200 in action.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I have some minus 95% days at $600, I don't mind. But I'd like to have more bullets of all the leverage spots and all the exploitative spots that I can, rather than have 150 and have to worry about like, okay, maybe I should have 5% of both Coors teams because just from a bankroll management standpoint.
Yeah, just make sure I get some money back if things go way off in Coors.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll build those lineups to win first. Yeah, they'll be weird in other spots. But it's like with 40 lineups, it's just like if I see a heavily overowned spot, I just exit out. If I see a heavily underowned spot, like, dude, maybe I'll have 80% of this guy. I mean, maybe I'll just like there's this pitcher that's 6% owned that probably should be 20. And I'm just like, based on my lineup constructions and the price range it's at, it's like, fuck it, I'll have 80% of them. Right?
Yep.
Right? And it is what it is. You'll go on to the next day. It's MLB DFS. Right? To me, MLB, the ownership, if you plotted the correlation between ownership and fantasy performance, like MLB, it's like the lowest out of like all the sports.
Yeah. That's what I would expect.
Right, so which means like the penalty of being different isn't as dramatic.
Yeah.
NBA, it's like there's some slates where Like, yeah. If you plot it over the course of time, like 70% owned players in large field GPPs typically do very well
They
because
hit. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the reason why they're 70% owned.
Yeah.
70%. Imagine having a 10-game slate with a 70% owned batter. Imagine
Right.
Ronald Acuna is accidentally 3K. And people are like, well,
And
you got to jam him in. It's like, dude, he gets 4 at bats. He could easily go. Like, dude, he could even hit a home run, a solo home run, and you could still make that. I mean, 14
that.
points, right? You can still get that from some other batter, right? So, like, 3K Mike Trout is not like you got to jam him in every lineup. It's like, dude, if this guy's going to be 7% owned, I just X him out. Okay, fine. It's a batter. It's baseball.
And you don't get 3K, but that's the thing. Like you get often in baseball, you still will get like a 25% 3K batter who's obviously not a star. Happens all the time, which is something that's Peter Viles, bro, said on my show on High Stakes that he just X's those or he does things to limit those players to only in stacks, that kind of thing. Like he doesn't want them as one-offs, which I've never done that, but I think that's something I might start doing. I didn't do it last year because I had such a good year the year prior without doing it. So I was like, I stayed the course, and now I think I'm ready to adjust a little bit.
Right, but I already got my process down. I have an Excel spreadsheet that I'm bringing into my portfolio trimmer for the Theory DFS Excel tools. And the thing is that I'm going to be building, essentially, I'm going to be playing somewhere between 3 to 5 lineups. So I'm going to be playing basically 2, I'm going to call them cash lineups, but they're not cash lineups. And then 1 to 3 GPP lineups. The one lineup I'm always going to be playing is one lineup into the 121 single entry. Like that's going to be a staple contest that I play every day. I'll throw that lineup also into the $4 20 max, into the $15 main, like just because it will be a stacked lineup. And it's going to be geared for smaller field play, but that doesn't mean it can't win the $15 one. Large field also. And then if I want a little bit more, I'll make 2 more GPP lineups. And I'll play one in like the $25 single entry, one in the $12 single entry, and also put those into the large field also and build 2 extra lineups or something like that. But the 2 cash lineups are the 3x, 5x, the triple up, quintuple up style contests, the 3-man and 5-man lobbies. And the reason I'm doing 2 is for variance control, because when I start excluding the most, because what I'm going to be doing is aggregating projections and then throwing that into my portfolio correlation matrix and seeing basically what are the most used combinations of players based on median projection, which essentially is like what's the cash lineup and what 5 players like stick together, because most people will be playing those players in cash games, and then what's the projection difference with only 4 of them, only 3 of them, only 2 of them, only 1 of them. And then as it goes down, how many can I eliminate with how much projection do I give up by eliminating them? This is mostly for batters, not necessarily for pitchers.
Yeah.
And then basically try to play, I want to play the highest projected lineup that doesn't contain the combination of those 5 players.
Okay.
Right?
And this is for 3-mans and 5-mans?
3-mans and 5-mans. So basically, once I get to that point, the thing is, what typically happens is once you get to that point, you could end up with like 100 lineups that you could choose from, because they're all very closely projected to each other. Because, like, if I don't play this third baseman, like, that's 0.7 points higher projected than these 4 other third basemen. I can play any of the other 4 third basemen, and that happens at like every position. So in combination, it's like, okay, here's a lineup that projects for 4.5 points lower than what most people cash lineups will look like. And here's the next lineup that projects for 4.51 points lower, 4.52 points. And it's like, but for that half a point, I have like, it could be 50 lineups. And it's like, do I just play the top one out of them, even if it's like barely a difference? Do I play, how do I choose? So it's like, what if I just choose 2, right? So I choose 2, and I want the 2 out of that bunch to be combinatorically different also. Right? So I'm not relying on as like the same. Now, obviously, I'm going to have overlap to some extent, but I don't want it to be that my first lineup is like 10 players like this, and the next lineup is 9 players and 1 different. Like that. do anything really.
So are we still working under the assumption that most people in the 3-mans and the 5-mans are going to be playing their cash optimal lineup?
They're double up lineup, and what I'm doing
Yep.
for the start of the season is I'm entering both lineups into double ups also.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just for see if basically I'm not giving up much for the double ups as it is by playing the lineups that I play, because with the amount of variance, it is suboptimal, but just for the ease of CSV retrieval. So I could just go and go, let me take a look at the double up. I could download the CSV. I could look at all, get all those lineups, and then download the triple up at the 31-man triple up and go, what players match and what players don't match, right?
Yep.
Just to see, it's like, okay, these are the players that play lineups, everything. These are the players that play different lineups and everything. And just to see where the edge lies. Last year, most of the field played the same lineup in those contests, but I can't be 100% sure. I want to track that. So that's
people
why
may have listened to your show since then.
Well, I don't know. People change what they do. They're in certain sports, like in soccer. I know Saramek, like he has changed that. In soccer, like I will play over the past year, maybe even 2 years. Like I'll play him and he'll be in double ups. I'm not playing him head to head. I have him blocked because he's the best soccer player in the lobby. But I'll see, like, I'll be in 3-mans and 5-mans with him and other people. And see, like, the double up, he didn't do very well. But he beat me in several 3-mans. And I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? Oh, yeah, because he played a different lineup.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, okay. So he's not playing across. Yet, like, someone like Redcoat in the soccer lobby typically plays one lineup across the whole damn thing. So it's like, okay, I need to keep track of this type of stuff so I know how to play exploitably against these types of people, because I'm mostly going to be countering regs doing this. And then taking two lineups, controlling some amount of the variance. And it's in baseball especially, it's possible that I could have a 5v5 between two lineups and have both of them win. I mean, because they're like, right? It's not like it's like one or the other, but since I'm playing triple ups and quintuple ups, like if one lineup bombs and one lineup does well, I actually make money on the day, right? Technically, right? So like, do that, do the 121 single entry and maybe 2 extra GPP lineups.
Are you doing anything in like a 5-man? Do you do anything to try to correlate? Like, is that a tiebreaker for you to correlate batters from the same team, that kind of thing?
No. Because I'm not playing, because I'm not trying to increase my variance. I'm just trying to be as high projected and different from the other 4 players. I'm relying on the fact that a lot of my EV comes from the fact that the other 4 players in the contest have very similar lineups to each other.
True. Okay.
So it's like, I don't need the correlation. I'm not looking to beat them by 40 points. I'm just looking at, I want a lineup that projects for 4 points, 5 points lower than them. That's a 6v6, because when two players of theirs fail, it's not just in one person's lineup. It's like in 3 out of the 4 players, right? So it's like they're the ones that are increasing the variance, because like they need the margins between beating each other out of the 4 people in that contest are so small. And me, like, dude, I did this last year. There were times where like, the cash lineup's doing very well, and I just happened to play a guy in the outfield that hit 3 home runs on that day, and I beat all of them. Right? Even though I had like poor performing 2 other spots, it's like, nope, I got one guy. The guy, and none of the 4 people had him, and it's just like, okay, I beat you guys by 5 points, right? Even though you guys did well enough, they cashed in double ups, but I won in triple ups and all those types of contests. So like, you can get bailed out in baseball so much more than in any other sport. I don't mind being that much. I don't mind being different.
No, I mean, that sounds like that's kind of your goal. You're trying to be as different as in the,
but not like I'm not trying to play garbage, right? I'm not gonna. I'm not sacrificing 16 points in projection in these types of contests. I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as a regular GPP. As you said, it's like you're trying to play the highest projected, lowest owned lineup, essentially.
Right. And for a 5-man contest, the amount of projection that's considered a low projection is much higher, because you only have to beat 4 other people.
Right.
When you're beating 20, trying to beat 30,000 other people, it's like, in order for me to get different and different, I have to sacrifice more and more projection, and then make that up in the fact that you're playing lower owned players or lower owned combinations of players. But in the small field stuff, the thing is though, Neil, the 121 is exceptionally exploitable because so many people play high projected lineups in those contests.
I think Greg plays the 121 too. He really likes that contest. Or maybe maybe it was Alex Santi loves the 121.
No, yeah, he loved the one, and the Nerdy Tenor loved the 121 also. Because
only like the top 10 out of 100 make money. Is that right? Is that contest?
No.
Okay.
No, 121 is the single 5K to first single entry on DraftKings.
Okay.
He may be talking about the 100 mans on FanDuel that play 12.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Those are similarly exploitable. There's so many people playing high projected lineups in those that the ownership just gets completely out of hand. But in the 121 single entry that happens, it's like, dude, I don't know what's going on tomorrow's slate. I'm assuming Braves are going to be chalky. But like, if Ronald Acuna is like 22% owned in like the large field, like the 121, like he could literally be 50% owned.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
And dude, it's an 11-game slate and it's a fucking batter.
Yeah.
50% owned? Like, fucking easy.
Sounds like some edge there.
Right?
How often do you get different in like a 5-man? How often do you get different with your pitchers? Or do you just play?
Not as often, only because obviously they're more normally distributed. So like sacrificing pitcher projection is much more detrimental than sacrificing in batter projection. But I mean, it depends on how close the pitchers are projected to one another.
Right.
Right. But it's most likely that my 5v5 off of those lineups don't include the pit. Typically, I'm in the 5-man. It's quite possible that like both of my pitchers are 80% owned, right? Which means 4 of us have that pitcher. It could be 100% on some slates, and it's just like whatever type of thing. Because a lot of times, if you get rid of that pitcher, like you're sacrificing 3 points just from getting rid of that pitcher.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, if I don't mind sacrificing 3 points amongst 3 batters. Right? Because I'm sacrificing like a point per batter as I replace them. But once I sacrifice 1 pitcher, it's like, oh, I'm playing like the same 7 batters out of 8 batters as everyone else. But I just have a different pitcher and a different catcher. It's like, it ends up being a 2v2. And if I make it be a 5v5, instead of giving up 4 points, 5 points in projection, now I'm giving up 8 points, 9 points in projection. It's like, why don't I just play the pitch? Like, I don't want to be sacrificing 3 points, 4 points in one spot. Right? Yeah. I could do that at batter. Even at batter, that's a little bit of a stretch. But at pitcher, it's like I don't think it's worth it enough. I'd just rather be combinatorically different elsewhere. But there are going to be some slates where 4 pitchers project pretty, some people are going to go up and down, some people can play the 2 in the middle, but it's kind of like a bunch of people are going to be around 20% owned. And it's like, okay, now it doesn't matter. Now there's going to be enough diversity amongst my opponents that I don't even know if it matters. None of the pitchers are quote chalky. Like those 4 pitchers will be compared to the other 20. But amongst the 4, there's not going to be one that's 60 and the others are 15. It's going to be like they're all around the same. So it's like whichever one's fit, and just all I'm doing is running lineups in Lineup HQ and transferring it over to my Excel tools. So it's like I'm not even going there to like select which pitcher am I going to play. It's just like whatever happens to be in the lineup, it's in the lineup. That is what it is.
No, that's kind of what I figured you would say, that you're not really making changes at pitcher all that often, but wanted to confirm.
Yeah. So
you see what I won in my DraftKings prize chest this last week?
Oh, did you won a big one, right?
I won the hidden prize, the sound bar worth $2,400.
Oh wow!
I just it was on my mind because I just had to go in and confirm it. It's like you have to wait until the following prize week to claim your prize. So I went through and finally claimed.
What type of sound bar is $2,400?
I don't even know what a sound bar is. Is it just a speaker?
Yeah, it's just a speaker, but it's typically a long speaker that goes underneath your television.
Okay, I'm probably just gonna sell it.
I mean, what, dude? You could buy a sound bar at Best Buy for like $150.
Not this high quality sound bar.
High quality. What is it made out of diamonds? I mean, what's?
It's called DVLA. Maybe that's a Dior DVLA. I don't know. It's a fancy.
Dior, is it what? It's a fashionable one.
I guess. I don't know.
Dior sound bar.
Yeah, let me look out what it's called.
DVLA Dion.
Yes,
oh yeah, no, I see. Right, $2,400. High end sound bar. The DVLA Dion soundbar is Dolby Atmos enabled. Allow it. Yeah, it's all fucking bullshit.
Yeah. So if you want it, I'll give it to you for $2,000.
No. A true all-in-one soundbar, 17 autonomous high-end drivers, all powered to proprietary DVLA. It almost sounds like DVOA, like you're getting a high DVOA.
Right.
Do you want 3D sound? There's no such thing as 3D sound. Yeah, this. I guess it is a high-end soundbar that probably, if you plugged in a $150 soundbar from Best Buy, I'm not sure if you'd be able to tell the difference.
I wouldn't be. I'm sure there maybe like Nerdy Tenor would be able to tell the difference with his background and sound and stuff, but I don't think that I would be able to tell the difference there. Yeah, it's for me. It's just something I'm gonna have to sell. I was hoping that I was gonna have that option, like convert to DK, dollars or something, but that was not an option at checkout. So I'll take it. I'll sell it.
At some point, we're gonna have to convert the DK dollars for the Apple set.
Yeah, well, I got another email yesterday about that, and
Me
it
too.
told me nothing. It said, "We will not let you know when we ship," I think is what it said.
Right. Like, why send it out? No, the email basically said that your iPhone may ship separately, so don't be alarmed.
Right.
You'll receive an email with your tracking details from here, and you'll not be able to provide you with the arrival until that email is sent.
Yep.
So basically, who knows? Sometime, maybe.
We're still thinking about you.
Right, we're still, because they're probably probably other people have gotten their watches, and
I have gotten 4 or 5 DMs from people asking me, "Did you get the Apple? Have you gotten it yet?" Like, people are very much thinking, like, are we just not getting these Apple prizes? What's taking so long? Because like you said, yeah, the watches, people have already gotten some of the other awards, so rewards.
I mean, Jason Robbins spent $132,000 to send his family to the Super Bowl.
I saw that. I didn't read into it too much, but I did see somebody posting that on Twitter. That's pretty crazy.
Right. So, I mean, they should be able to afford to send out these old Apple products because they're not even the new versions.
Are they not? I thought.
Well, I think the iPhone
14.
is. I mean, well, it came out like 7 months ago. But the laptop is a 2021 or what? It's the same laptop that I bought my wife 2 years ago.
Okay, interesting.
So that's why, like, she's getting the new watch, right? Because she has a watch from like 4 years ago. The Apple Watch. She has the first version of the AirPods, whatever, the earphone, so she'll be using that. She has the iPhone 12, so she'll upgrade her phone to iPhone. I already have the iPhone 14. And then what? The iPad, I don't know. I think maybe we'll just give her the iPad to a nephew or something like that. Yeah. She already has an iPad, and I don't need it. I don't use a tablet. And the laptop I'll use and I'll bring to the poker room because I use a desktop now. So that'll be the laptop where I basically load up Chrome, load up Excel, run everything a half an hour, at like 6:30, and then go back to playing poker on the days that I play poker. Like, that's all I'm planning on. I was considering buying a laptop before then, but once I saw the Apple, I said, okay, I'll wait for this to come. It'll be here. It'll be here before MLB season. I have nothing to worry about.
I thought I was going to sell, or no, I was thinking that I was going to sell the laptop when it came in, and now the laptop that I'm on right now has been kind of shitting out on me a little bit more regularly than I'm comfortable with. Like, I'm okay with it, once a month if something happens and it shuts down for some reason, that's maybe fine. But it's happened a few times in the past couple of weeks, and now I'm thinking I might need to replace my laptop. So maybe I'll end up using the new MacBook. My wife has claimed the Bluetooth headphones that we're getting from Apple. I think I'm going to use the watch. But
so do you normally use the laptop?
iPad. Yeah, I'm always on a laptop. I don't even have a desktop.
Yeah, I can't do that. Do you use external monitors?
Yeah, I have a big monitor. I just have one laptop, one large monitor that I hook it up to, and then I move to. I have 2 desks here, so I'm on this desk that I'm on right now. I only use when I'm doing shows. Otherwise, I'm on my other desk.
Right. You're not like me. I have seemingly infinite screen space.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people do, and that's I don't know if you listened to the Levitan Utica interview. Sounds like he has. I think he said he has a couple monitors, and it sounds like a lot of people in some of our discords were sounding pretty like who would use just one laptop? How could you possibly make lineups with just one laptop? I don't know. I've always just used one.
Well, I mean, it seems like weird to have two computers. I can understand the monitors. Like, to me, I have 3 27-inch screens. So
Damn. Okay.
1, 2, 3, and like one, like typically my default is like the one on one. I have one in front of me, right? One on the side is basically TweetDeck, right? Of
Okay.
course, I could put stuff over it. So like I will drag windows over because it's like I don't need to see all of a TweetDeck all the time or whatever. It's on the side. And then on my other screen, I typically have Slack, Discord, and my to-do list and everything like over there. So it's like it's all these. My main browser is typically in front of me, and then I just move windows. I typically have I have a program that sizes windows to certain sizes, so I could just like,
Okay.
oh, I'm gonna drag this, and this is gonna make it a square over here, and this is gonna make it a thing over there. So like, it's like, oh, I want to
Cool.
see this there, I want to see that there, and I don't have to like resize shit. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to see the bat projections by themselves. Okay, I need lineup HQ over there. Okay, but I need to now, instead of minimizing it and kind of switching through, it's like I could see everything at once and just move the windows wherever the fuck I need them.
It
Right?
sounds better than what I have because I just go tab to tab. I just have a bunch of tabs open.
Yeah,
But,
I'm not a tab person. I like just
yeah.
everything all at once. Right? I rarely ever get to see my desktop background.
Yeah.
Something's always open or some window is something above everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I never got. I used to have a laptop. It's like I didn't use it for so. I ended up giving it to my wife a couple of years ago, and then she wanted a new one, so we got that one. I sold the other one back to Apple for whatever resale value, and it's like, okay, like I don't travel enough where I'm going to need a laptop anymore to do any type of work. But if I do want to
Is
go
it
out,
easy to sell unused Apple stuff back to Apple?
yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's what I'll do with all my Apple products that I'm not using.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about selling something in box new.
Okay.
I think you just said used, and they're not going to give you the best like deal. I think it'd
Right.
probably be better to just sell it on eBay,
Okay.
right? Because
That's
then
what I
you
was
could if it's new in box in the shrink wrap and everything like that, you could practically get the store
Almost, yeah,
value
full
for it,
value.
right? You
Yeah.
could pretty much get this, right?
Yep.
Maybe $100 off or something, some type of discount. But if it's like new,
Yeah.
right? But once you open it up, then you're getting, then you have, no matter if you didn't use it at all,
Yeah.
the money's going to come off. But Apple products tend to maintain their value longer.
Hopefully they're not branded with DraftKings stuff.
No, I don't think so. Why would they?
I don't think they would either. Because we get grills and stuff that are all branded with DraftKings. I don't think they will be because it'd be weird with Apple products, but also wouldn't be entirely shocked.
Well, you wouldn't want a DraftKings laptop that had the glow
Just for the resale purpose. I'd be fine with it, to be honest. If it's just mine, I don't care. But if I'm trying to resell it.
Yeah, but if it was
Probably easier.
specifically made like that, you know how rare those are? That maybe they actually have more value.
Good point. I hope they are DraftKings labeled.
Yeah, I don't think the Rolex watches were DraftKings.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
look, DraftKings watch.
Good point. Good point.
Right. So is there anything else going on? We mentioned the Utica, that Utica interview that Levitan did. Like, to me, and I've said this before. If you go back to previous shows, go back years ago, to me, he is the greatest DFS player of all time. When considering, like, if you just had an overall player for all formats, all sports, like,
Yeah.
I consider him to be the great. Like even on his show, on his interviews, like, oh, who would you consider to be, the greatest or whatever like that? And he even says that, well, it really depends on the format and the sport. Some people
Sure.
are better at this than others. Yeah, that is true. But it's like, if you're like,
Overall,
it's like, if you want to just like, okay, you're going to need a person to play 7 different DFS sports, cash games, GPP, small field, large field, anything. It's like, and you got to pick one person to play for you. Like, to me, it's Utica.
yeah. I mean, he's certainly got a case for it. Like, it's not a bad choice. That's for damn sure. Obviously, I'd throw Alex into the ring there just because he's not playing as much these days, but he did for many years. He was the number 1 ranked Roto-Grinders player for I think 4 consecutive years. So I'd throw Alex into the conversation there.
I put him on the Mount Rushmore of DFS players.
I would too. Yeah, I think Utica, Alex. Would you put like McLovin on there? I don't know if anybody's been as dominant in their time period as Condia was in the
right, but
early
I
days.
don't. Right. It's in his. The key standpoint is in his time period.
Right.
Like that's kind of like compare like the
Babe
dead
Ruth.
ball
He was
era.
the Babe Ruth. Yeah.
Right. Because it's kind of like what anything before like 2015, 2016, it's hard. Like Sahil,
Right.
like from the era, I would say yes, but like I don't know. I mean, to me Pedro Martinez, like compared to like Sandy Koufax, it's like as you get like Clayton Kershaw, as we get further in,
Yeah.
compare
you can't
LeBron
compare-
James to someone, to Bill Walton, or like dude,
Yeah.
it's a different era of
The
like
game
yeah,
is so much tougher now than it was
right,
when they were dominating.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Which
but
is
yeah,
which makes Utica that much more impressive, and the people
Right.
who are doing it now.
I don't know. Let me check out their RG leaderboard. What does it look like?
I haven't looked at it recently. I know that I have fallen off big time. I stopped paying attention because they stopped giving me credit for any of my wins. so I was like, fuck this. I'm not looking at this anymore.
But yeah, I would say Utica, like all time. I mean, I would put Alex. I mean, to me, Alex is up there. Then obviously we're missing 1/2 people. I put them in one thing. It's Chipotle Attic and Papa Gates.
Yeah, good point.
And I'm not putting them in one thing because they're colluding. It's just that obviously that they're utilizing very similar sources and they're both good. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to put up Chipotle Attic, but well, then what about Papa Gates? And I don't want to use if I'm carving faces on a Mount Rushmore type of object. I don't want to use two from kind of like two brothers,
Right.
right? So I'd put them on the Mount Rushmore.
Good call.
I guess I mean from just a longevity standpoint, probably McLovin.
Yeah.
But I think like someone like Giant Squid would be in the conversation.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I guess I have not thought of him as being in that conversation, but he probably is. He's been crushing it for so long at this point.
Right. I mean, obviously, if it was basketball, I'd obviously have Petty Theft up there.
Yeah, if we're talking just basketball.
Right.
And Petty Theft, like, he does so well at basketball that he could almost be there, but he doesn't play most sports, so.
Right. I mean, obviously, like it. Then I don't know. Mount Rushmore, like Brick, is up there, and Steve the Colts.
Yep.
Up there, guys like BK Reader, maybe a little bit less for GPPs. That's why it's like now you start getting into like there's a lot of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Right. Sean Zan, FJ Bourne. Right.
I was going to throw FJ Bourne in there as well. Yeah. Sean's on. Yeah. There are so many great DFS players. I was going to say Steve, I think, is the most unknown great DFS player. Steve Buzzard. Just like people don't know who he is.
The Colts. Come on.
Maybe they just don't know him by his name.
Right.
Yeah.
I just looked down like the top 50 and it's like, yeah, I mean, you could at this point, like it could be any of these people.
We didn't even mention Whistles Go Woo, who is currently
right. Well, that's why I meant he's in there. The same thing. I mean, like, dude, it could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Whistles is just like he's so new that it's hard to give him, the GOAT status.
Right.
Some of these guys have been playing for a decade and dominating.
Right. I think I would be on the Mount Rushmore of DFS teachers.
I think you would be too. I'd put you on there. I'd put probably maybe Josh. Like he does great. He's great at teaching and also does just so much content. That's another thing that you have in common. You're very prolific, and also I've learned a lot from both of you. I think. I don't know who I'd put on the.
You have to put Levitan. You have to me the ones that go up immediately are Bales and Levitan.
So that's interesting. So I have not consumed a ton of Levitan content. I think so. Maybe that's it's a shortcoming. I think this.
Just from a prolific amount in NFL DFS. I mean, if you were ever exposed in the past 10 years to learning how to play NFL DFS, it's hard not to have heard or listen to any type of advice by Adam Levitan. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I guess I've never listened to him consistently. I always enjoy listening to like his interviews and stuff, but it's just he's not somebody that I've listened to consistently enough that he jumps to mind to me as somebody who is a teacher. Like I think of him, he's very entertaining, but I guess I haven't consumed enough of his like teachable kind of stuff.
And then Bale's just out of just being like kind of the first.
Yeah.
Like he's like the godfather of DFS game of like the strategy and game theory. Like, does he do much anymore? No. But I mean, dude, I'm assuming people still on Amazon buy for smart people books for fantasy sports that it's almost how do you?
I bought
not?
one of them. I haven't actually opened it, but I bought one a year and a half ago or so, and I thought maybe I'd read it someday. And then enough people told me that it's all stuff I probably know by now, so I haven't bothered.
I mean, what other pure teachers are there? Because I'm not talking about tout. I'm not talking about touts.
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking
know.
about more
You're talking about
like evergreen teaching style content.
Yeah, there's not that many really to. I mean, Brick has a series, but like it's only 10 kind of short videos. I think he would be on there if he did more content, but I don't think he's
Right.
prolific enough. I think
I mean,
he's a great teacher.
This guy's not around anymore for reasons. Gotta include Manny Laura.
For reasons, yep.
Right. I mean, on Twitch. I mean, he's the study minute and everything like that. I mean, that's.
I never really consumed his content. He's one that I hear about all the time. People talk about him like he's one of the better teachers, and I just never.
Right. If you 2017, 18, 19, like if you wanted to learn DFS and his Twitch streams got viewers, right?
Yeah.
So like I would put him up there.
Yeah. I think Alex is actually a great DFS teacher too. He does a lot more written content though, so like he doesn't do as much of the like evergreen video content. So
then I don't want to have a tout Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean that's where you're gonna shine in the tout Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Anything else? Anything? What's up? Anything? It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday! Is this 44?
Yes.
How did I know that? That's I guess it's not that
impressive. I've said that I was 43 before at some point.
You did, yeah. At some point you said you were 43.
Right.
Well,
And
happy
you're
birthday!
You're good at addition. You're a very analytical thinker.
One of my strengths. Exactly.
Did you have to use Excel for that?
As long as the numbers are small enough, I can add them up.
Oh, okay.
I did. I played XFL Showdown cash games, and won some of them by like 20 points. Like it was like 80-60, and my takeaway was I couldn't decide if my takeaway was this was a bad showdown or bad cash game lineup, or the field is really bad at XFL cash games.
Well, who are you playing against?
Never heard of any of them.
Okay, so that's a good sign, right?
Yeah, right.
A lot of times that's a good sign. Sometimes it's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Because, dude, you go to the soccer lobby, like, outside of hearing me say people's names, you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the EPL lobby. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna get a head-to-head with Pew Pew Pew. Never heard of him. I'm gonna get a head-to-head with Saramek and Redcoat and Moneyball.
Right.
And Fear My Turtle. Yeah, maybe college sports I kind of heard about it. And you look around and you go, okay, this should be easy. And then they destroy you.
Yeah.
And it's like what happened?
Maybe these were the top of the top in the XFL fields.
I don't. Is there such a thing as?
I don't really. I'm not
especially
sure.
Especially with you would know if anyone else. You and Justin Freeman and who are the XFL people?
I mean, I think. Me, Justin Freeman, Cody Main, Kyle Dvorak, some like Furby Hubler, like people who work at those sites, like Furby Hubler, and I think there's other ETR guys who are very strong at XFL stuff. There are a number. I'm sure I'm missing some.
So I'm assuming you would know who would be in the head-to-head.
Maybe maybe I don't know who's great at XFL cash games though.
Well, it got to be people. Maybe were people playing like the ETR Optimal, like something like that for projection's sake.
So I didn't look at what the ETR Optimal was, but there were several people with the same lineup, so I kind of suspect so. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know what you do? You play the 3-mans and the 5-mans and the triple ups, and you just. Right?
I don't know if those are options in XFL though. Sadly.
You can find. Why not? You can find them in the non-guaranteed. Sure, why not?
Good point.
Typically, it's the same people that are in the head-to-heads.
Actually, I take it back. I played a 4-man winner take all and got second in this last showdown slate as well. So that was kind of brutal.
Right. Well, also showdown's tough to be that different from other people, though.
Yeah, I mean, we literally all 4 of us had different lineups. So this one, or maybe somebody played the optimal, but not multiple people. But yeah, it's a little bit tough with showdown.
XFL showdown cash games.
yeah. Of course, that's where I'm going to get in my cash action.
Right. Is it just boredom or something? I mean,
so this was actually I was putting together my lineup and I was planning to make a GPP. Like I usually put in a dummy lineup, and it just so happened that I put in the first 5 of 6 players, and then the 6th one I was like, oh, I can fit in all 6 of the best players with this player a captain. This is a great lineup. but not for a GPP. So I entered it. So I was like, I like this lineup too much, and I don't want to play it in the GPPs. So I just entered it in cash games.
And then no one played that lineup.
Nobody else played it. Yeah.
So is that a sign that like you're really good at XFL, or a sign that you're really bad at XFL?
I know. Well, that's exactly, that was my
like when
question.
you have that thought
say,
process of like because that sometimes happens to me in MMA, where it's like, to me, like I don't play MMA cash games, but it's like this lineup seems like almost like this is obviously going to be the cash lineup, and then like you put it together and it's like, oh, I'm gonna put in $500 worth of double ups and something because this just like let everyone else make the mistake, and then you see that like the sharper players, like some of them have that same exact lineup, but like only like it'll be a 45-man $25 double up, and it'll only be like 6 of us with that lineup.
Right.
I mean, it's like, and then you look at some of the other lineups and go, what the fuck did people play? Why'd you do that? Like this almost seemed too easy.
Yeah.
And typically when it's too easy, like we win. I mean, like it just
Right.
it
and it's how it felt for us. And it was a lot of people were playing one of the quarterbacks who I didn't think was safe. So I was like, I was excluding him, wouldn't have thought of him in a cash setting. He projected really well. He was one of the top projected players on the slate. So I think that's why people were just playing him, because he was in the optimal. But I was like, he's very at risk of losing his job in the second quarter. So I don't know.
No, I think that's probably what the difference is that the players' standard deviations are different. And in cash games, you're typically looking for to not increase your variance, but decrease your variance.
Yeah.
So given the choice between two players with one slightly higher than the other, you'd prefer the one that has the narrower range of outcomes. And that's it gets back to the same thing for what happens in MMA, right? Like it's a lineup that I look and I go, this seems like the obvious lineup. And then other people have played like the highest projected lineup. And that's based on the fact that the $9,100 fighter actually does put up like 100 points, and the lower price fighter puts up at least like 30 or 40. But like I'm playing like the $8,700 and the two fighters that are more likely to win, and the fights last at least 3 rounds. But you're putting in the knockout artist that has like a 60% chance of winning inside the distance. And like, dude, if he doesn't, like you're fucked. Like I know that median looks higher, but like you're not getting 65 points from this fucking guy. You're getting
0 times
100 or 10, right? So like, I don't know why you're playing them in double ups. Like, I'll just get my guaranteed points and feel free to run me down. So like, I think it's a very similar situation.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Okay, I think we're good enough for my birthday. Right.
Good. Well,
still working.
It's
just a normal day.
Are you doing anything for your birthday?
No. What the fuck would I do for my birthday?
I don't know. Watch WWE or something.
No, that's what I'm doing. It's a Wednesday, so it's Wednesday night. You know what?
Okay, yeah. So you are doing something for your birthday. You're doing the same thing you do every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
All
And this coming weekend, this coming weekend is like like the Super Bowl for like wrestling. Like it's like,
oh, is it?
Well, I mean, it's WrestleMania weekend, so
okay.
So, but it's not only like WWE. It's that like wherever WrestleMania is, like all the indie promotions go and put on shows like from Thursday to Sunday. Like there's like all the best independent Japanese, Mexican talent. They're all across all these shows, and now like there are streaming services where you could watch all of those. Well, you could watch pretty much all of those shows. So basically, from Thursday afternoon to Sunday night. Basically, I'm just going to be hanging out and obviously building MLB lineups, right, in the morning, and then just like, okay, wrestling's on, and then I already even planned of like what matches that I want to make sure to see. Obviously, I can watch some of the stuff on replay, but like, so it's like the mecca of professional fake fighting.
Nice, fun. Well,
so
enjoy that.
That's more of like what I'm doing for my birthday.
Yeah, just vegging and watching fake wrestling.
Right. Fake, well, scripted sports entertainment.
Scripted wrestling, that's right.
Right.
Nice.
So Neil at PlayerQ DFS on Twitter. You're going to be busy, right? You're going to do 7 million shows now.
I've already been doing 7 million shows, and now I'm adding a daily MLB show. So yeah, I'm going to be pretty busy.
7,000,001 shows.
7,000,001.
So you could get all of his stuff at Stochastic. You get my stuff, obviously, Rotogrinders, right? We're competitors. Oh, my God.
Right.
Can you believe we're on the same podcast? Who gives a fuck? right? You need projections from somewhere. Get them from somewhere. You're going to need
somewhere.
tools from somewhere. Get them from somewhere. If you don't get them from Roto-Grinders, get them from Stochastic. If you don't get them from Stochastic, get them from Roto-Grinders. There you go. You got 2 options. Get them both.
Love it.
Who gives a fuck, right? What do you think I'm going to aggregating? I'm like, okay, right? I'm going to have to see if people are building cash lineups and they subscribe to Stochastic. What's the Stochastic optimal?
You should get them both. If
right,
if you have the money for
exactly.
it.
That now I know. Okay, I know. Oh, if you're using Stochastic projections, you can get a lot of this team.
Yep.
Right. Oh, maybe this team is actually going to be much higher than what the top stack tool says it's going to be, because people don't know how to use tools well and just like, I'm going to build 100 lineups and fuck it, I got 60 stacks in this team and fuck it. It's like not going to be 8% owned anymore. Maybe it's going to be more like 14% owned. Like you wouldn't know that without fucking looking at that shit. So I want to know what other people are looking at, even if I think they're horrible, right? Because truthfully, Neil, there are places around the industry that in certain sports, I don't think their projections are very good. But I also know that people also do look at them. So like if they do look, okay, so I have to expect certain ownership to be a certain way, because this ownership may be off. This projection may be off, right?
Not to jump back into the conversation because you were closing out the show, but that was another thing that Utica said, is that he thinks the projections are so different across the industry for baseball in particular that he thinks they're not very good. So it's kind of interesting.
Right, compared to his, I guess.
Compared to his,
Right. He's someone,
or other sports.
Right, but he's someone in MLB that I can't pick. I don't know what lineup. Like if he in double ups and cash games, like his lineup has no relation to any projection aggregate that I have. Like it's
interesting.
I could disregard. Other people, I don't. Other people, other people, I could literally pick their lineup, like like literally every slate.
Wow.
Like I'll know exactly, like literally. The only time that you may not know is if there's some like rain out risk, right? Or something like that. Are you willing to take the shot? Like there's a little, maybe you don't, like that type of thing. But outside of that, unless there's a late swap, like there are several regulars that like that's why do you think I'm tracking across? I need to track across the contest.
Yeah.
To go, it's like, okay, I know what their lineup's going to be. Okay, I got that one right. I got it right again tomorrow. I got it right again. Like, oh, I was off one on there. What would be the reason for that? It's like, okay, maybe they didn't want to play that game because the lineup didn't come out and it's raining over there or something. Then once you know that, then it's like, oh, well, I know that guy, that guy, and this guy all play this contest. It's like, well, I could kind of, what players do they all share? Oh, they all share this player. X out that player. Build a different lineup. Not complicated. As long as you're getting paid 3 to 5x for it, like that. The key point is that you don't play head to heads that way, because you're not benefiting from that. You're just playing a lower projected lineup to get paid the same amount, and that doesn't make any sense.
Not a good idea.
Right. So that's what I'll be doing at BlenderHD on Twitter. And as always, you can pick up the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports 15-hour audio DFS masterclass at theoryofdfs.com.